Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Matthew Paris talking Saints Jags joint practice in 30 minutes. LSU Hoops gets a commitment. We'll do it 15 minutes from now. Jaden Daniels has issued a statement on social media, so I will read that to you. I don't really have a lot of comment on it because there's not a lot of to the statement. I gave plenty of comments at the top of the show. But Jaden's statement on Instagram says, and I quote, "I have been locked in on training camp, and that's been my number one focus. I have a lot of gratitude for my time at LSU, and I'm proud of what my teammates and I accomplished there. Obviously, there are issues to be worked out between my team and LSU, and my hope is that it will get done privately. My sole personal focus is on Commanders football. I realize the business of football is unique, and I trust this can all be resolved." Yeah, I would suggest just focus on Commanders football and let DJ Pickett wear number 5, and then we'll move on after this, and you can get your number retired. Nobody will ever wear it again. That's what I would suggest. But again, I'm not nearly emotional enough about the attachment of this number to multiple players throughout LSU's football program. So do with it what you will, but there's been a lot of goodwill done away, and there are some people that are not going to forgive Jaden Daniels. I think that's equally as ridiculous to suggest, well, I hate this guy, I'm not going to say his name, and Joe Burrow would never do this. Jaden Daniels was a super awesome player at LSU. I loved watching him play. I'll welcome him back to Baton Rouge. I'll welcome him back to LSU. This is a foolish way to handle this situation, in my estimation, but I'm not going to let it cloud my judgment of how awesome it was to watch Jaden Daniels play at LSU, and I do ultimately believe that Jaden Daniels will come back to Baton Rouge. He will get his number 5 retired. It will go up on the south end zone. He will have his night, and everyone should applaud that. But there are people who very much enjoy to get a grudge, hold a grudge, and keep it forever. And I'm not willing to do that with guys that play for my team, and I'm certainly not going to do it with Jaden Daniels. Doesn't make me right, doesn't make you right or wrong. That's just the way I feel about it. So if there's Jaden Daniels' comment on the matter, I don't really need to go too much further into that. I do invite you to read Matt's piece on LouisianaSports.net, where he spoke with members of all three parties involved here to kind of put some context behind it, and you can check that out for free on the homepage at LouisianaSports.net. All right, we're going to do this at 2 o'clock for the next foreseeable future here for the next couple of weeks. Let's meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen. Meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
Yesterday, we started this series with Deuce Geralds and Corey Barber. We'll go back to the interior defensive line today and start with Big Richard Anderson. Edna Carr High School in New Orleans, 6'3", 340 pounds. This is a guy who had a phenomenal high school career at Edna Carr, was the Class 5A Outstanding Defensive Player as well as First Team All-State in 2025. As a senior, keep in mind at 340-plus pounds, 53 tackles, 10 sacks, 22 quarterback hurries, recorded a couple of fumbles. Edna Carr's record in his final 28 games at Carr, 28-0. Pretty good for Big Richard Anderson. You look at his recruiting profile, and this is one of the best players in the nation. The Rivals Industry Composite has him as the number 33 player in the country, number 2 defensive tackle, number 2 player in the state of Louisiana, a 5-star prospect by Rivals. They rate them as the number 18 player in the country. 24/7 had him as the number 8 player in the nation, a top 10 player and a 5-star recruit. So this was a must-get for LSU inside the state, as that cliche goes. And LSU did lock him up and reel him in. He was committed early to LSU, met with Lane Kiffin in the hours after Lane Kiffin got down to Baton Rouge, and ultimately decided he would stick with his commitments. He enrolled early, and as we told you, on the second day of camp, he was working alongside Deuce Geralds at the starting defensive tackle spot. It's a pursuit drill. It's August 5th, so I'm not going to read too much into it, but I will say that we talked to Braylon Moore, the media did, last week, and he said that Richard Anderson is a powerful dude. And he is. When you go out to watch LSU practice, which is probably say more correctly, when I go watch LSU practice. He is noticeable how big he is. I mean, there's some big dudes out there. Don McKinley's a big dude. Stephylan Green's a big dude. Malik Blockton's a big dude. Sean Washington, big dude. Richard Anderson's the biggest dude. He's the biggest dude out there. He's got oak trees for legs. He is strong as an ox, and he moves pretty well. There's a reason he was a top 10 player in the nation, according to 24/7. Now, this is always a position that takes some seasoning, because when you are 6'3", call it, and 340 pounds in high school, and that center who's taken psychology class at Nicholls State this year and is not playing down a football the rest of his life, is there trying to block you, you can just knock his ass out of the way and go get the quarterback. Like that, it's a different sport for these guys who are destined for the NFL as opposed to the guys who don't even play it down in college football. So you don't have to have immaculate technique at that level to dominate. And he did dominate. But he's got to have great technique at this level, because now 19-year-old Richard Anderson is going to have to deal with 23-year-old guards and centers who also weigh 320 pounds and can hold their own. So I'm very, very optimistic about Richard Anderson's time in Baton Rouge. I think he could be a star. I'm also leery of the amount of true freshman reps that you're getting on the defensive front this early in camp. So I'm really pumped about Richard Anderson. It's not a Richard Anderson thing. It's an upperclassman thing that gives me a little bit of pause. But this was a great job by Lane Kiffin and his crew to keep Richard Anderson in the boat and on this team, because he really, really, really looks the part. We'll look to the second freshman on this list today, and it is Ryan Moret. Ryan Moret hails from South Florida. He is a Miami native, went to Southridge High School. He is a former Ole Miss commitment. He came over with Lane Kiffin, having never seen LSU. Never saw it. Just trusted Lane Kiffin. He's got good size, 6'4", 300 pounds, but he profiles as a center. This is not a tackle for sure, and probably not a guard. He is a center. And if Braylon Moore were to go out, I think William Satterwhite would be next up, but Ryan Moret is challenging for that spot early on. Here's something I absolutely love about Ryan Moret. Love. As a junior in Florida High School Athletic Association 3A wrestling in the 285-pound division, he was perfect. He was undefeated in high school wrestling as a junior. That shows me a guy who has dealt with a lot of guys his strength before and has won based on leverage and technique. Now, it's wrestling, not football, and not every wrestler can come over and play football, but there are some good innate skills in Ryan Moret that will allow him to be a really good college player. Now, he is a low-profile recruit. This is not a high-profile recruit. Rivals had him as a 3-star. ESPN has him a 3-star. 24/7 had a 3-star. He is the number 57 interior lineman by Rivals, 44 by 24/7. ESPN liked him more at number 10, but he was not a top 140 player by any of those recruiting outlets. But Lane Kiffin trusts his evaluation, and he trusts what he saw in Ryan Moret. So this is not a guy who's going to have an impact this year. There are two guys in front of him at the center position, and you hope that Braylon Moore stays healthy and plays the entire year right there. But I think that this is potentially a diamond in the rough for LSU. I like his size. I like his background. I like his attitude. He sat right in the studio and talked to Matt Moscona during spring football after he came. He believes in what Lane Kiffin does. He believes in himself. He's a year away. He needs to get in the weight room and continue to work. But a lot of accounts suggest that he's had a really nice spring and into early camp, and that's a really good thing. That's a guy that you would hope can challenge for a spot next year, and you hope doesn't have to do much in the way of starting and playing this year. But I love the wrestling record. I think it's awesome. And we'll see when he becomes a key piece to what LSU is doing. So 4 freshmen down: Zeus Geralds, Corey Barber, Rich Anderson, and Ryan Moret down. We'll continue to knock out 2 every single day as we move forward with LSU in fall camp. Our Meet the Freshman series has been doing it since we started this show up, which was like right about 5 years ago. So we'll continue this show rolling. Today, LSU got a basketball commitment. You might not know much about him. I learned a lot about him last night and into this morning. I'll tell you what I learned when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. That's swingeasygcbr.com. Looking to squeeze some golf into your weekend plans. It's almost here, but you don't have a tee time. Well, make it Swing Easy Golf Club. You might say, well, I don't have 4.5, 5 hours on Saturday morning. I got somewhere to be. Well, you don't need 4.5 or 5 hours at Swing Easy. You can play 18 holes in an hour. You can easily do that. You can play Pebble Beach in an hour by yourself, or you can go on a Friday night. Have some drinks. They got them right there for you. Seltzers, beers, wine right there. Bring some friends, crank some tunes, and hit some golf shots. Endless mulligans, endless fun. It's all right there at Swing Easy Golf Club on Segan at Perkins. They're online at swingeasygcbr.com. Memberships are available, whether it's a personal membership or a commercial resident a membership. You can get one of those as well, corporate membership. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, online at swingeasygcbr.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Marucci is such a cool story here in Baton Rouge. I tell you that every day, but it's really true. I mean, you got two former big leaguers, their trainer, and they hop in the backyard shed and start making a bat. And then you fast forward 20 years, and they got the official bat of Major League Baseball. Not Louisville, Kentucky, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's really cool, and you can learn that story if you go take a tour. You can see how they scaled things up from the backyard shed to where they are now. You can see where they make 1,200 bats every single day and ship them to the best players in the world. You can see where they're carved down, stained, and shipped off. It's such a cool facility and a gym here in Baton Rouge. And if you're not into history, you just want to hit, well, you can do that too. The Hitter's House is right there. Grab some lumber, take some swings. You can become a member at the Hitter's House, 24/7 access to their batting cages. For that youth baseball player, youth softball player under your roof, a membership to the Hitter's House may be the ticket. Maybe you just want to take a tour. You can do that too. It's Marucci, online at maruccisports.com. All right. I've been complaining. I've been asking. I've been whining. Where are the players for LSU basketball? Where are the players? How do you have a roster page on LouisianaSports.net with 4 guys on it in the middle of August? I've never seen this. I'm uncomfortable with this. I told y'all. I had a conversation a month ago, and the source inside the program said, look, these fifth years are going to get eligible. We've got a lot of them. We're going to get a lot of them. We'll be ready by the time school starts. And I heard it, and I told you that, but it's just, I didn't understand why the information is not coming out. Louisville's getting commitments. Kentucky's getting commitments. Gonzaga's getting commitments. Everybody's getting commitments. LSU's got none. And I'm sitting here telling you that LSU's got this mountain of cash because Jan Madar's not coming, and they're going to miss out on some of these European guys. And so you got roster spots. You got cash. They got all these guys in the portal. Go get somebody. And finally, they got somebody. Pending a waiver, of course, but we all believe that these waivers are going to be approved. Yesterday, it was reported by Joe Tipton that Sky Clark, former UCLA guard, would play his 5th and final collegiate season at LSU should he be granted a waiver. He's played the last 2 years at UCLA. The year before that, in 2023, 2024, he was at Louisville, and the year before that, he was at Illinois. So Illinois, Louisville, and UCLA, not exactly 3 slouches when it comes to the hardwood. This is a guy who's played high-level basketball at 3 different places. And so he comes over. He's a 6'3", kind of combo guard, I would suggest. He, over the last 2 years, has started 57 games for UCLA, but he started 28 games for Louisville back in 2023, 2024. In all, between Illinois, Louisville, and UCLA, he started 97 college games. In his career, he's a 10.5 point scorer, and then last year he averaged 2 assists a game for UCLA. But the stat that jumps off the page with Clark is not the experience, which is great. is not the 11.5 PPGs that he averaged last year at UCLA, which is strong, or the 2 assists, which was good. It's the shooting. Last year at UCLA, not in a small number of attempts, this guy shot 124 threes. He was putting up threes. He shot 43% from deep. 43% over 124 shots. That is knocking him down. In the year before that at UCLA, he shot 121 threes, a lot of threes. He made 40%. So over the course of 2 years at UCLA, shooting 145 three-pointers, which is a lot of numbers, but it's 145 threes is a big sample size. This is not 4 for 10. It's 245 threes. He's shooting 41%. That is ripping the net. He's a good free throw shooter, 82% last year. He dishes out assists. He had 91 assists at UCLA 2 years ago and 87 the year before that. This is a guy who can run the point. He can facilitate. He's not an elite athlete. He's more of a bigger frame. He's a good athlete. But when you're 6'3", and you shoot it like that, and you play for UCLA and you play for Louisville, you would imagine that the NBA comes calling, and they haven't. He's a fifth-year player. And that's because he's not an NBA athlete. But he's got good court awareness, good vision. He handles the ball a lot, does a good job of distributing, rolled up some assists, and absolutely can knock the ball down from deep. I don't know if Divine Ogachukwu is going to be a great shooter for LSU. He did a pretty good job of shooting it at Michigan State, was a bad shooter at Miami. I don't think Austin Nunez is a great shooter who's going to play some guard for LSU. Mo Diabate is going to be on the wing for you. He doesn't shoot it great. You need some shooting. We'll see if Marcio Santos is here. He's got to get eligible. He's a good shooter, but we'll see if he gets into school. I don't know if you're going to get Michael Ruzick in here, who's a skilled scoring player, but you need shooting. And Abdi Bashir can absolutely shoot from the wing. You brought him in from Kansas State at 6'7", but this is your ball handling shooter who can create his own shot, who can space the floor, who can get in the paint, and he can make some things happen. Now, this is only a 5-person roster right now. So suggesting exactly where he fits in is a fool's errand because I don't know who else is on the team. But I do know that this is a veteran player from a power league who shoots the lights out, not 1 year, but 3 years of really good shooting, has been a double-digit scorer for the last, let me make sure I'm right there, double-digit scorer for the last 2 of the last 3 years, once at Louisville, once at UCLA, and can really rip the nets. And I like that a ton. I watched his YouTube highlights for about 5 minutes last night and got a pretty good sense of what his strengths are. You certainly don't see weaknesses on a highlight tape. I don't know how good a defender he is. I know that he's not going to be any sort of shutdown defender on the wing, but I think he can hold his own. This is an offensive help and one that brings you veteran experience, NCAA tournament experience, Big Ten experience, ACC experience, and a lot of it with a good shot. So this eased my nerves a little bit, okay? I wasn't at a 10 because when I talked to that source inside the program, I was at like a 2. Okay, they know what they're doing, great. And then it mounted a little bit, and I was up to like a 4 or 5. And then those fifth years got the injunction that said they're going to be able to play. That dropped me down to a 2, and I thought it would just be a flood. Kind of based on the conversation I had, I was like, okay, everybody's going to be coming in. They'll get 6 guys in the next 3 weeks. Well, it's been a week and a half, and I got 1 guy, and I didn't have any yesterday. We crept up to a 6 yesterday. I'm back to a 3. Again, based on some things that I've heard, there are some of these European guys that we heard about back in the spring are not going to be on the team for one reason or another. Could be eligibility, could be lack of interest once they arrive, like could be a number of things. There are going to be some things that shake themselves out where not all those guys, I'm not saying none of them will be here, but they aren't all going to be here. So you're going to have to fill this with some fifth years. And there are really good fifth years out there. And I think Sky Clark is a really good fifth year and a good fit for what LSU needs at this point. But they got to keep it going. And I am concerned, yes, about gelling this thing together by November. these are old players that should be able to figure things out relatively quickly, but you're talking about getting into conditioning. You're talking about playing together and understanding an offense and installing a system and communication on defense and things that do take a little bit of time. And LSU's just not going to have that because I don't know how long Clark has been here or if he's gotten to Baton Rouge yet. But assuming he's eligible, which I feel pretty good about suggesting he will be eligible, I like his skill set. I like his game. I like guys that can shoot. Shooters space the floor. Floor space creates attacking lanes. Attacking lanes create fouls and opportunities at the rim. Fouls and opportunities at the rim create points. And so it starts with space on the floor for me, and this is a guy that can do it. So good get from LSU, from UCLA. I did check the UCLA beat writer that tweeted it out, and I was looking for the comments, which you hear. You know I do. I see what the reaction is from folks when players leave or when coaches leave. I understand sour grapes play a role, but in this case, there are a lot of pro Sky Clark comments about the type of player that he is and how they wished he would have come back to UCLA. I take that as a guy who played pretty damn well over in Westwood. So we'll take him in Baton Rouge. Sky Clark, the 5th member of LSU's basketball team for 2026-2027. Every time something new breaks, we'll tell you about it. And I'm going to write a portal profile on him coming up tomorrow for LouisianaSports.net. Chugging along here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, working towards the weekend, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We will step aside. Matthew Paris covers the New Orleans Saints for The Advocate and NOLA.com. The Saints were on the practice field with the Jaguars. Twitter made it sound like things went really well today, aside from the Jordan Tyson injury. We'll ask him what he saw with the Jordan Tyson injury, and then we'll talk about what else he saw on the field today. Come back with us, The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Awesome deals on trucks all month long in August. You got time to get by, but make it happen over the course of the next couple of weeks because 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s have 0% APR financing for 5 years, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. That's now until August 31st, as I mentioned. But GMC Sierras, right there with them, 2.9% APR financing, but 72 months. That's 5 years, plus an additional $1,500 in allowance on those Sierras. So if you want a Silverado, you want a Sierra, August is the month to get up Highway 61 to Fabry Chevrolet GMC and test drive one today. The Fabry family's been at this for 35 years. Amazing customer service, wonderful buying experience every single time. That's how they've done this for 35 years. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef brings you our Thursday shows every single week. We talk black and gold generally with Luke Johnson on Thursdays. Luke out of pocket today, so his colleague good enough to step in and join us. Matthew Paris covers the black and gold for NOLA.com, and The Advocate was out there at Saints Jags joint practice today and joined us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Matthew, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. What's the headline today? The improved effort, and I'm reading all this off Twitter, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the improved effort of the offense or the Jordan Tyson quote-unquote injury that forced him out of the end of practice?
I would still say the offense. Now, fair warning, I was watching the defense while Luke Johnson, my colleague, watched the offense. So I did not see the offense throughout practice, but big picture-wise, it was still important for the Saints to show up. They had been very inconsistent throughout camp. They needed kind of a statement day, and from everything, relayed to me and hearing from Luke, they seem to accomplish that against Jacksonville today.
Can you paint this picture for those of us who have never been out to a joint practice? What's the intensity level? What are the regulations put in place? Like big picture stuff before we get into the details of the day. What does that look like year in, year out when these two teams get together?
Yeah, it's pretty organized. I mean, it definitely is intense. There is a lot of work. Like the reason why coaches have preferred not to play their starters in the preseason and save it for the joint practices is, one, because the environment is a little bit more controlled, but two, you can really get a lot of work in. I didn't count how many total plays the first team defense was out there for, but it was, maybe 8 series, maybe more than that. Like they did red zone work, 2-minute drills, length of the field, down and distance sort of stuff. And, there's just a lot of ways you can get after it. And I think both teams accomplished that today.
You watched the defense today. Would you suggest throughout camp the defense has been very impressive, Saints on Saints leading up to today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has looked very much like the top 10 unit that they rounded into last year. In some aspects, it has been even better with, Kool-Aid McKinstry's growth, Chase Young's looking like an actual true star as a pass rusher. There had been a lot to like, and I think that really kind of carried over to today's practice. They started off really strong, shut down Trevor Lawrence. Then Lawrence really heated up. He really diced them into red zone. That was kind of the one down area for New Orleans, but they rebounded pretty strong. They made a kind of a statement in the final 2-minute drill. Chase Young estimated that he had 6 sacks alone. I don't know if it was that many, but it was pretty, based on my own notes, I had at least 3. There were at least 4 plays that were blown dead because of Young. One of them was a run play, but he had a really impressive day, and there was a good showing overall from the defense.
Are they moving Chase Young side to side, or is he planted on the offensive left side?
He was mostly on the left side today. They rotated occasionally. Okay. But yeah, he was dropping back a little too in coverage. They were using him, but they took advantage of his skill set, which was just to get after the quarterback, and he definitely did that today.
You've seen him a couple of years now in training camp, and we've certainly seen him on Sundays. The talent level is obvious. Has he been better in camp this year than in previous years?
He has. I mean, so disclosure, I've covered Chase even getting back to his first year in Washington. I've covered Chase mostly throughout his career. This is the most complete I've ever seen him as a pass rusher. I think even his first season in New Orleans, he talked a lot about kind of realizing what moves to use when, and kind of figuring out that art of, being a pass rusher. The next year, was really kind of his breakout. Obviously he missed the first 5 games with a calf injury, but came back, racked up 10 sacks in 12 games. And this year just seems to be the next step for him. He's very involved vocally. He has to really have embraced the leadership responsibilities that really in Washington was really only his first season as a rookie. The team kind of turned toward him to be that vocal leader, but then he got hurt and his voice kind of became quieter as the years went along. But what we're seeing now reminds me a lot of Chase Young as a rookie, where he racked up the Rookie Defensive of the Year award. He was a complete difference maker for that defense. I think he's back to being that type of player.
Tell me about the interior of the Saints defensive line. We know that Brian Brzee is out for the year. We know that there's been a Davin Godchaux injury that he's dealt with. Christian Miller's missed some time as well. What was happening on the defensive interior today for New Orleans?
Yeah, that was an area that surprised me because the big question was, all right, with Brzee out, could they generate pressure? And they did. I think Nathan Shepard had several sacks as well. Vernon Broughton was creating pressure. Vernon Broughton has looked very good dating back to, I think it was last week. He just completely pancaked Cesar Ruiz. I had video of it on my Twitter that a lot of fans noted Ruiz's involvement in that play, but he just has been pretty steady for New Orleans, and those two really accounted for a lot of push. Davon Godchaux did not practice. He's their nose tackle. Christian Boyd kind of filled in that absence, which I thought was interesting that they didn't use Christian Miller there, who they drafted in the second round. But, they got a lot of push. Now, the question is, Jacksonville was missing some starters up front. Was it just that, or will they be able to generate it consistently this coming season?
You mentioned the red zone as a spot where Trevor Lawrence had some success today. Were there any more concerning areas for New Orleans defensively that you saw?
Yeah, I would say the red zone was the big one. The other thing that kind of stood out to me was it felt like when Lawrence was really starting to cook and he found success a lot in the middle of the field, it seemed like the closest players nearby were Pete Werner, Caden Ellis. Like, I do wonder how their linebackers are going to hold up in pass coverage. Not to say that those plays were necessarily their fault. They were just the closest defender nearby. So you got to be careful when judging blame on that sort of stuff. But I do wonder if, how a team's going to attack them. Is that an area that they try to take advantage of? It's just something I hadn't really thought of it before today, and it made me just raise my eyebrow a little bit.
Matthew Paris is our guest, covers the Saints for NOLA.com and The Advocate. I've been on the air for an hour and a half, so I'm not sure what's going on after practice, but did you have a chance to speak with Kellen Moore or any of the players after they wrapped up today?
Yeah, I wasn't there for Kellen's availability. I was doing some other something else related for a story I'm working on. But I was there for, several Chris Olave, Travis Achan, Julian Blackman, Tyler Shuck spoke as well. But the players reiterated that, they felt like this is really good work. They were used to seeing, the opposing unit for the first 11 of camp. It really kind of, it's like Tyler Shuck said that he got there were some, he had trouble putting down breakfast this morning because it kind of felt like a game day situation. And I do think the Saints really approach it as if, they were playing a real game Thursday, that they approached it in a serious manner, which was good to see.
All right, let's talk about the actual preseason game that I know a lot of folks will be watching. We know a lot of the Saints starters will also be watching and not playing, but is there something that you'll be looking for, a position battle, a young player, whatever the case may be, when the Saints and Jags do get things going in the Dome?
Yeah, two things. I think the rookie receivers are the big one. We've seen a lot from Darian Brown and Bryce Lance in practice. Jordan Tyson was not going to play anyway before today's injury, then now certainly almost not the case there. But I'm interested to see how those two would translate. And then I think the running back rotation is really up for grabs on this team, at least behind Achan and Kamara. That third running back spot, it has on the depth chart that they released the other day, it was Kendre Miller. I was pretty skeptical over that. It really does seem like Audric Estime has kind of moved into the leadership position, or he's the pole position guy for that spot right now. Now, Kendre Miller and Devin Neal have been hurt, so maybe that goes against them. But I do think, Audric Estime got reps with the ones the other day. They are clearly interested in his progress, in the growth that he has showed. I just wonder if it translates to the regular or to the preseason against Jacksonville.
How many do you think they'll carry week 1? 3?
I would lean towards 3. I think they're going to keep 4 tight ends. Moiki Monteval has had kind of a nice camp to, I think make the case for keeping 4. Receivers is a good one too, because after Jalen Polk retired, I thought they were going to keep 6. Does that open up a spot to keep 5? I think I'd still maybe lean towards 6, but the numbers are, I think, pretty in flux right now, and the preseason goes a long way toward shoring that up.
Matthew, we appreciate some time. Enjoy some kind of real football coming up this weekend.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks.
That's Matthew Paris with NOLA.com, and The Advocate was out there at Saints-Jags joint practice. We got a lot of reports on Twitter based on the offense and how good Shuck looked, and hit a couple of big runs with Travis Achan, and Olave made a big play down the sideline over Travis Hunter. And it seems like there were some really good things for the Saints, but Matthew watched the defense, and obviously Chase Young has continued his awesome work. And maybe that's I loved that signing when the Saints made it. I thought you're not in a place where you can win right now, and they weren't 2 years ago when they signed him. But he's young, he's cheap based on his talent level, the number 2 overall pick in the draft, and defensive rookie of the year, and it's pretty low risk. It's a 1-year deal. You cut bait if it's over. And then obviously he liked it here. He played well, and he decided to re-up and extend. And maybe he's a pillar of what you're doing over the next 3 years at that rush in. We've seen guys far, far older than him that have made impact as a pass rusher. Eventually Father Time will come calling, but he's not coming for Chase Young right now. He's in essentially his mid-20s, almost in his late 20s. So that was a great addition. And by every account, everyone we've talked to, Chase Young has been the best player. And I think that is twofold. One, it really helps to have that guy on your team to close football games, to make game-changing plays, strip sacks, third down sacks, first down sacks that stall drives. And also, every single day, you've got Kelvin Banks, a first-round pick who's young, dealing with, I'll be conservative, a top 10 edge rusher in the NFL. That's a great thing to have him dealing with that every single day. And to Banks, to his credit, suggested that when he's it's great for me to go against Chase Young. Got a feeling if Banks plays at all on Thursday against a guy that's probably going to get cut by Jacksonville, he's going to go, well, this is awesome. He probably won't play in the game on Saturday, but is it Saturday or Sunday? I don't even know which day it is. Saturday. Probably won't play because they're probably not going to play any starters. But if he does and plays some third teamer from Jacksonville, it's going to get cut. It ain't going to look like Chase Young. I can promise you that. But neither will that first week of the season. So we'll see. But thanks for Matthew for giving us a little bit of time here. Saints and Jags coming up on Saturday. A little more practice to come tomorrow in a lighter setting. So appreciate Matthew for a little bit of time. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetimeroofingla.com is that website. It's not just roofing. They also do windows. They also do gutters. They also do siding. So anything on the exterior of your home that you think could use a facelift, Lifetime Roofing is happy to do it. If you get that new roof from the folks at Lifetime Roofing, whether you've got some damage that you need to file a claim on, or if you're looking for a retail roof because you're selling your house and want to make sure that the roof is there so you can get as much as possible for your home, Lifetime Roofing is happy to help you with that. If you need to finance things, they've got 0% for 18 months. If you're looking for a lifetime workmanship warranty, you're not going to find it in most places, but you will find it at Lifetime Roofing. Get that new roof, get a lifetime workmanship warranty that's backed by Certainteed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building material. It's a Baton Rouge company, knows how to service South Louisiana, can help you all the way over to Houston and anywhere in the state of Louisiana. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Appreciate y'all. Very much appreciate y'all making LouisianaSports.net part of your day each and every day. I'm looking at the site right now. There's just a lot going on. Got an injury update on Jordan Tyson from Ross Jackson. Ross wrote up Saints run defense from today against Jacksonville. Matt's got an inside story where he spoke with multiple sources in multiple camps about this Jaden Daniels situation with the Heisman Trophy being asking for it back and the numbers. You can read all that there. I've got my practice report from this morning up there from LSU. You can check that out. Ross Jackson wrote another piece that's about Saints and Jaguars joint practice. I've got a column up about the drama between LSU and Jaden Daniels. It was published this morning. So, and we got a piece up there about LSU landing Sky Clark from UCLA. That's up there as well. So anything that you're looking for, LSU basketball, LSU baseball, Jaden Daniels, Heisman talk, Saints, Jags preseason, and joint practices, it's all there at LouisianaSports.net. It's all free. So appreciate you all for going by and patronizing that. It means a ton, and we've really enjoyed watching the site grow over the course of what is now exactly 2 years since we launched things over at LouisianaSports.net. So really, really cool. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Look, if you don't know the intramuscular fat scale, which grades beef, you probably know the words. You just don't know how to put those together. It starts with select. That's the bottom of the barrel in terms of USDA approved meat. That's like 0 to 3 on the scale. 3 to 8 is choice. That's like 60% of your beef. 8 plus is prime. Prime Angus beef. That's what you get at fine steakhouses, fillets, ribeyes, strips. Prime is the top. And that starts at 8. Sagrera Farms has cows on the farm right now that are 10, 12, 15, 17. In some cases, double prime. And there are only 2 places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. You can get it at Supper Club, or you can get it from Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms. That's it. So if you want to get a whole cow, you want to get a half cow, you want to get a quarter, put it in your freezer so you have it ready, like we do at my house. Call Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms and make that happen. I give you Sean's number every single week at this time, and I'll do it again. Give him a call, 225-719-1723. 225-719-1723. Say, Sean, heard about you on the Hunt Palmer Show. I want to get some beef. And he's happy to help you with that. It's Sagrera Farms. They bring you our shows every single Thursday. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. said the doctors told him before training camp on his surgically repaired knee, you have an amazing ACL. You shouldn't have any knee problems ever again. So it's Michael Penix having an amazing ACL. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it because
Leave it alone.
He probably does have an amazing ACL. They still tear. That's part of it.
He's got some of the worst legs ever, though.
Somebody comes at you submarine in a left tackle and hits you in the knee. I don't care how your ACL looks.
Yeah.
You play on turf a few times a year. I don't care how your ACL looks. Yeah, it's a problem. So I hope Michael Penix has a great ACL. I don't care to see him get his career ended by an ACL injury, but I'm just not convinced that we got an indestructible ACL here. I don't think those exist.
All right, so an 11-year-old boy took thousands of dollars from his family emergency savings before spending $2,000 of those dollars on a Roblox gift cards at Walmart. Toronto parents said their son secretly grabbed an envelope with $3,000 in cash before visiting his grandmother. Later, when the boy's grandmother took him to Walmart to browse the toy section, he slipped away and bought $2,000 worth of Roblox gift cards across two separate cash transactions.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a little video game, it's a little microtransactions and all that. So your son will be playing that soon. The kids love Roblox.
Won't.
You're not gonna play Roblox?
He's not playing Roblox.
So kids buying.
He's playing baseball, not Roblox.
Any other sport?
Yeah, lots of other sports,
Okay.
not Roblox.
So kids buying $2,000 worth of Roblox gift cards. Take it or leave it.
I'm gonna pass, but you gotta respect the ingenuity of this kid, swiping the cash and making it happen.
But my thing is though, who was the cashier that just accepted thousands
It's like
of dollars?
Home Alone when he books the room.
Yeah, it's like,
this is my dad's credit card. Just let me in.
I'm just not understanding the part where the person at the cash register is like.
Reminds me of a great movie, Blank Check, from my childhood in the 90s. When he gets $1 million and buys a mansion of a house and throws a huge party with private limos and stuff.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy that house with $6 million now. But back then, $1 million was getting you that and that limo full of ice cream.
Don't even.
A little bit questionable though that he's like got a big crush. He's like, I don't know how old the kid is in the movie, but he there's a romantic relationship.
Oh, this the
with
movie
Shay,
you was
the
talking
girl.
about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know you're talking about now. I know with the girl that's
A little inappropriate.
Yeah, we ain't gotta say it on air. So an oil and gas executive is suing Starbucks after claiming a wobbly table caused scalding tea to spill into his genitals, leaving him with permanent injuries.
Did not see that coming.
Oh yeah. Oh, I come with it. The lawsuit claims the tea was served with an improper secured lid and suddenly spilled into his lap, groin, and genitals area. He says he suffered burns, disfigurement, emotional distress, and debilitating nerve damage to his genitals. So
how hot was his coffee?
Hot tea ruining your life. Take it or leave it.
Here's my bet.
Okay.
You know what? I don't know this guy. We'll make you a little bit insensitive here. I bet this guy didn't get that hurt and he's just going for the cash.
Oh, let me add some context. So this happened in 2024 and now it's coming out in 2026.
Okay.
So this is a couple years removed. It's not fresh.
I think this is questionable. This guy may be faking it. We're milking it for the cash. We got a system that allows for the cash. We're going for the cash. This is Kramer, who ends up he gets the hot coffee in Seinfeld and ends up with free cafe lattes for life. Yeah. This has got Kramer vibes to it. I'm not buying it. I think the guy's fine.
Leave it alone.
I think he's fine. I'm leaving. I think he's just fine.
But
easy for me to say, but I think he's fine.
I just want to know the thought process, going to the lawyer like, yeah, I spilled this hot tea. I'm ruined.
I want money.
Yeah, I'm ruined.
I have no satisfaction. My quality of life is shot.
Terrible.
Disfigurement. I need tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions from this multi-billion-dollar industry. Yeah, just give me all the cash. That's a wonderful attitude. I love when people do that. So, yeah, that's great.
So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. Open the show today talking about numbers. If you want my thoughts on it, you can go back and check it out on demand. Hunt on LSU. You can find it on Instagram and YouTube Reels as well. It's all up there. But I gave my thoughts. I wrote about it at LouisianaSports.net as well. We also talked about more important things like the Saints practicing the Jaguars, LSU's practice today. LSU got a basketball player, which is good, and an LSU baseball player who's going to take the junior college route for a year. That's at the end of hour number 1. So if you missed the whole show, catch it on demand. Hunt Palmer Show is there. I know a lot of folks are getting back into routine with school and starting to incorporate more sports talk into their lives that may not have been there in June and July of this year. Come join us. Go find the Hunt Palmer Show on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt on LSU is our LSU channel. Hunt on Saints is our Saints channel. Thanks to Matthew Paris for giving us a little bit of time from Saints camp. That's it for us. LSU does have practice tomorrow morning. We'll be out on the Positive Road, so checking that out. I'll have a practice report at LouisianaSports.net. We'll talk to Preston Guy tomorrow about all of that. Matt's done some great reporting today. He's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place with the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTro's Outdoor Power got some awesome deals. It's a summer clearance sale right now at GoTro's Outdoor Power. 2 locations. One, of course, in Baton Rouge on Airline, and the second one down in Donaldsonville. You can check them out. And Gonzales, look, they got the summer clearance sale. Up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero turns. 0% financing is available as well. So again, if you need a new zero-turn mower, up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero turns. And it's a huge inventory. They've got the largest Hustler inventory in the state of Louisiana at GoTro's Outdoor Power. You can find it on Airline or, of course, in Gonzales as well. And they got great deals. And the customer service is second to none because they're a local company. The GoTro family has been at this for 22 years. So if you've got a property that needs maintaining, you've got a Hustler or a zero turn that's on its last leg, and you're looking for one, look no further. I've got you covered over at GoTro's Outdoor Power.